If you're considering buying an apartment in New York City, you might also be wondering if it's a good investment. I'm Anthony Guerrero, broker and owner of Manhattan Miami Real Estate, and I'm here to discuss the 10 things that savvy investors consider when buying a property in New York City. Is buying Manhattan real estate a good investment? The answer is yes. Over the last 15 years, the compound annual growth rate of the price per square foot has been 4.5% annually. That's a pretty good investment. Considering you can leverage that investment using a mortgage, the compound annual growth rate would be much higher than that. Which is more important when buying a property in New York City? Location or amenities? I'm sure you've all heard location, location, location. And that remains true for New York City as well. Location trumps amenities every time. Should I buy a co-op or a condo? Well, that's a good question. If you're interested in buying a new property or one that you want to rent out to earn rental income, then co-op's not really going to be an option for you. If you're looking for a primary home, then co-ops may be an option. Co-ops generally want primary homeowners. Generally, co-ops are less expensive than condos, but they also have less utility because you can't really do whatever you want with the property. In New York City, if I pay cash, will I get a better price? Considering that 50% of the buyers are usually cash buyers, you may not get the best price. But a cash buyer will still be at the top of the list compared to someone who is making an offer using a mortgage contingency. What are the down payment requirements to obtain a mortgage? The down payment requirements vary whether you're going to use the property as your primary home, secondary home, or if you're going to use it as an investment property. A primary homeowner will usually be able to get a mortgage with 20% down. Second home buyer, including foreign buyers who are buying property as a second home in New York, will have to put about 30% down payment. And an investor, both foreign and domestic, usually have to put down 40%. So 20, 30, 40, depending upon what you're looking to do with the property. Is buying a property in New York a good investment? The answer is yes. According to the UBS Global Bubble Report, Manhattan property prices are supported by very high incomes compared to some other cities that are really supported by external incomes, not necessarily local incomes. Is buying a property to rent out in New York City a good investment? The answer is yes. That's because Manhattan property prices are supported by high local incomes. In Manhattan, sustainable rental income is predictable. Sustainable rental income is perhaps the most important factor when looking at investment properties. What size apartment works best for investors? Generally, 1 and 2 bedrooms are the best investment properties to buy. However, we see that 2 bedrooms have slightly higher yield than 1 bedrooms. While cost prohibitive, 4 bedrooms can really do well in Manhattan because there are less of them. It's all about supply and demand. Which neighborhoods are the most popular for investment? We believe the best neighborhoods for investors are the same ones that New Yorkers live in. And where do they live? They live in Upper West Side, Upper East Side. They live in Chelsea, Tribeca, Soho, Flatiron, Gramercy, among others. In these neighborhoods, you'll always find demand for these apartments. If I'm not going to use the property for 10 years, where else should I invest in New York? Well, in this case, you might want to choose a neighborhood that's gentrifying. For example, West Soho has recently undergone a rezoning from industrial to residential, and you're starting to see a lot of development there. And now that Google and Disney will both have campuses there, it's going to be a great place to have a property in 10 years from now. The same thing happened in West Chelsea when the High Line was developed. Before, that was really industrial space, and now it's one of the most expensive locations in Manhattan. What are the tax implications we need to be aware of as foreign owners? The main tax issue for a foreigner is the estate tax or the death tax. That tax is close to 50% combined federal and state. So you really need to do some planning before you buy a property if you're a foreigner. Both US citizens and foreigners need to pay this tax. However, US persons have a $12 million exemption, where foreigners only have a $60,000 exemption. But there are ways to get around this that we can help you with. Capital gains tax and property taxes are the same for both US citizens and foreigners. Of course, there are many more things you can consider when buying a property. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My name is Anthony Guerrero. I'm the broker and owner of Manhattan Miami Real Estate, and we're here to help.